I'm often asked, how can I eat well in the perimenopause and menopause? What foods are going to help me? There's a huge amount of research out there, but it can be so confusing. Even for me, I read a huge amount of information on a weekly basis, and sometimes I'm just as confused as everybody else. But what I thought I'd do today is just give you some general tips, some ideas of things that you can do, the foods that you can eat, what you need to eat, and also the things that I do to help myself. So the problem here is that when you go through the menopause, there are several things that happen. One is our nutritional needs go sky high. If you think about it, all these physical and emotional changes that are going on require a huge amount of energy. And what may be suited us in our 20s and 30s may not be enough for what our body needs at this particular time. Also, our digestion can change. Falling estrogen can have a big impact on the production of stomach acid, so you might not be breaking down and absorbing all the nutrients that you need. It can also slow everything down, so you end up getting more bloating and more digestive discomfort with the foods that you are eating. So the important thing is here, because your body needs more, because your digestion is not quite so good, you need a much bigger, varied diet than what you may have done maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So there's some really key food groups that you want to try and incorporate with every meal. So the first thing is lean protein. So we need protein for so many different things. We need it to build our muscles, and one of the main issues that can happen, especially menopause and post-menopause, is something called sarcopenia. Your muscles just basically fade away, and that is then going to have a huge impact on your mobility, your muscle strength, and also your fitness. So enough protein, good protein on a daily basis, is vital just for muscles alone. You also need protein for your skin, for your hair, for your nails, for bones, and also for your hormones. So this is the point where our hormones are decreasing, our nutritional needs are increasing, and we need more of everything also to support hormone production. If you are vegetarian or vegan, you can look at things like your beans, your pulses, your nuts, tofu, and tempeh. Otherwise, you're looking at lean meats. You are looking at loads of fish, different kinds of fish. Eggs are fine. Dairy, just be careful of dairy. Try and make sure that it's organic and just have that in moderation. Remember that dairy has lots of calcium, but it doesn't have a lot of magnesium, and we need extra magnesium with our calcium at this time as well. Fruits and vegetables, absolutely vital. We need a big range in order to get all the vitamins and minerals that you need on a daily basis. Then having a really good variety of different foods and fruits will be really helpful. We need fruit and veg for fiber, because remember, everything slows down, so we need to keep elimination going to avoid all that bloating. So I normally recommend eat a rainbow on your plate every day, and that way you're getting a really good mix of different vegetables and fruits. Healthy fats. If, like me, you've been brought up, fat is the enemy, fat is going to cause so many health issues, stay off fat. Problem is, we need fat to lubricate our joints. We need it to keep our skin nice and moist and healthy. We need fats for brain function, and we need fat for hormone production. So it's getting the right balance of fats. I always tend to recommend things like the coconut butter that you get in the jars. You can look at avocado oil, your extra virgin olive oil. All of these can be really helpful. I tend to say avoid sunflower and rapeseed oil. These are often highly manufactured fats. And I always say to people, and the same with margarines, and just if you have time, have a Google at how margarine is made, and I think you'll probably never eat it again. It's a very complex process. If you're fish oils as well, so fish oils can be really good for the joints, for brain function, and for your skin. If you are vegetarian or vegan, you can look at flaxseed oil supplements instead. The one thing here about fats though, if you are under the doctor for high cholesterol, then you really do need to follow their advice. Just don't drop everything in this case. If you're getting really confused about fats and what you need if you have cholesterol issues, then it may be worth seeing a practitioner such as a nutritional therapist who can help and support you along the way. You're looking at whole grains. You need these again for fibre and also for gut health. So we're looking at things like organic wheat products, barley, millet, quinoa, beans and pulses. Just all I would say is don't eat a lot of them. I mean, I find for me, I don't eat a lot of bread because I tend to blow up with a balloon, and it's the same. You know, I love beans and pulses, but my body doesn't like them particularly much. So I tend to make sure that I get loads and loads of vegetables in order to keep my fibre intake up. You're looking to what's called phytoestrogenic foods. So these are a range of foods that contain compounds called phytoestrogens. Phytoestrogens mimic estrogen in our body, and they can help to really support our hormonal balance. Whilst our own estrogen production is decreasing, then the food can help to keep that balance a little bit better. So you're looking at things like your broccoli, your cruciferous vegetables, things like cauliflower, sprouted seeds such as red clover. You've got soya bean products. Although for some people, again for myself, my body doesn't particularly like soya, so I tend to avoid it. But you've also got things like nuts, you've got tempeh, you've got tofu, and you've got miso as well. And these, especially the fermented soya foods, are a lovely source of phytoestrogens. And if you have trouble with ordinary soya like myself, you may be surprised that the fermented soya products, your body is quite happy with those particular ones. So it can be quite difficult. You know, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, that's all very well, but how do you combine all of these together for a healthy meal? So I'll give you a rundown on one of my kind of daily diet so that you can get a good idea of the things that I do just to help myself. For me, I need a proper hearty cooked breakfast, because if not, then by 10 o'clock I am craving sweet things like nobody's business. So for me, the likes of this morning, I decided to have an omelette. So I will saute maybe some red onions, mushrooms, put the omelette in, maybe a little bit of asparagus, crumble of feta cheese and some cherry tomatoes. And I use a little bit of butter. So that dish is giving me my protein, few carbs, and 2 or 3 portions of vegetables as well. And that for me will be a really good start, and that will keep me going for quite a long time. I know, again, it takes time, but I find in the morning it's just an extra 10 minutes of my life on a daily basis to have a good cooked breakfast, and I feel so much better taking that than maybe a cereal or some kind of toast and whatever. For lunch, I tend to make a lot of vegetable soup. So at the weekend, I hate waste. So basically, any vegetables that are left in the fridge get made into a big pot of soup. I'll maybe do a curry soup or tomato and paprika. I'll just do whatever comes to hand. I have no idea what it tastes like at the end of the day, but they seem to work out all right. I freeze them for the rest of the week. So it means that every lunchtime, I've got a good pot of soup. I will add a bit of protein to it, maybe some lentils. I can cope with a little bit of lentils, maybe some shredded chicken. I've also now started, and I'll let you know how I get on with it. is the bone broth powder. I've read quite a lot about it in terms of containing collagen for your connective tissue. So, and it's also high protein, so that can be a really good thing. Oh, one of the things I forgot about breakfast. If you're vegetarian or vegan and you don't like a lot for breakfast, just go for a plant-based protein powder. So back to lunch. So that will do me for lunch. I always put a little teaspoon of organic extra virgin olive oil into my soup as well. So again, with the soup, I'm getting a bit of protein, I'm getting healthy fat, and I'm getting loads of vegetables in there as well. For my evening meal, I tend to do something really simple. It's just a salad, mixed salad. I use make my own salad dressing, and I'll have some kind of simple protein, like maybe some tuna or chicken or something like that. And that, again, keeps me going all evening. I do like the odd snack, especially if I'm really busy or I've got an active day. So mid-morning, I'll have something like a couple of walnuts. Mid-afternoon, maybe some full-fat Greek yogurt and a little teaspoon of organic cocoa powder to make a nice chocolate mousse. And maybe in the evening, if I am hungry, then I will have something maybe like an oat cake and some nut butter or something on like that as well. So as you can see, it's actually quite easy to incorporate these things in, just a little bit of extra planning. And I find for me that keeping my blood sugars stable makes a huge difference. And I tend not to then get the sugar cravings or snack on bad things in between meals. I love food, and this is really, really important. I really, really love food. So it can be really difficult if you have a very basic diet. So for me, I like enjoyment. I like to have fun, and being sort of, having sensible food the whole time, it can get boring and a bit miserable too. So I tend to follow the 80-20 rule, which means 80% of the time I will be sensible and I will follow the type of diet that I've already given you. 20% I will enjoy myself. So if I'm out for a meal with friends or family, I'll eat what I want. If I'm on holiday, I will eat what I want and I will really enjoy it. And then once back home, I'll go back to the original diet. And that way you're not starving yourself of the foods that you really, really love. One of the things I want to mention is intermittent fasting. I get asked a great deal about this. And there are some, just been reading some research on it in terms of how it works for the perimenopause and menopause. What I find is that blood sugar level control can go totally out of whack with some people, and that was my situation. So for me, I tried the intermittent fasting and it was a complete disaster. I felt really unwell and I just craved sweet things after about day 2. And although they do say, try it for a week, I really couldn't follow it. So this is one of these diets. If you want to have a look into it, read up well, don't just jump into it. Get plenty of research, read a few books on it and try it. If it works for you and you feel great, then that's absolutely fantastic. If after maybe a few days or a week, you really don't feel well, and your symptoms start to get worse, which is a good indication that maybe you're not getting enough nutrition at the right time, then obviously don't continue with it. So a little bit of experimental work there if you want. So I hope you found this helpful. There is so much research out there now showing that a healthy, balanced diet can go a long way to supporting your whole body through the perimenopause and menopause. Please share your stories. Let us know what diet you follow, what difference it's made for you, any little tips. Please share them. And you know that I always read to love everything that you write. Have a good week and I'll see you soon.